Good morning, everybody. Yesterday was quite a day, I spent some time on Facebook yesterday answering a lot of questions about some of the posts that I made in reference to George Floyd and that situation going on in Minneapolis. But not only that situation, what happened in Central Park, what happened to Breonna being shot in her bed, and the list goes on. I mean, there's too many of these situations to discuss in the short amount of time that I have right now. But what I will tell you is that we are tired. People are tired of having to go from week to see these things happening. And then people write them off as everybody dies. What about black on black crime? Do you realize that these things have been happening since slavery? They've been happening through the Jim Crow era. They've been happening through the Civil Rights era. They've been happening as of yesterday, the day before, 2020. And then we have conspiracy theorists saying, oh, it's the government. They're trying to divide us. What this should be doing is uniting us. These are disgusting, gross, atrocious events. And all people can think about is what the government is doing to divide us. These type of things should unite humanity. I'm tired of trying to mince my words so they come across just right, so that they come across as not being abrasive and making people feel uncomfortable. I have 3 kids. One's 20. He's bigger than me. I've got a little girl. She's 7. I've got a little boy who's 5. You know what's funny is a few years ago, my son came to visit me from California, and this was around the time the whole Trayvon Martin situation had happened. He told me, Dad, I'm going to take a walk around the block. I've been living in this same house since 2008. At that time, it was probably 2015-ish. And I told him, I said, son, be careful out there. You're a big guy. You got a hoodie on. And I know you live here, but there are people that may find you offensive. They may be afraid of you because you don't live here regularly and they aren't used to seeing you around. So be careful. How many of you have had that conversation with your children? How many people have had the conversation with their children? Hey, don't walk into that store with your pockets in your hand. How many of you have had the conversation with your children about the procedures when a law enforcement officer pulls you over? Okay, so those are the children. Now let's talk about the adults. How many adults, how many of us have changed the way we walk in society just because of the things that have been happening over the last several years? Your thought process is affected psychologically when you see these things over and over and over and over and over again. So don't tell me how to feel about it. Don't tell me how to go about society when I walk in it, because people that look like me are getting killed just because somebody feels like it, and nobody's being held accountable. And don't come at me, black on black crime garbage, because somebody that killed another black person is going to jail. They're going to meet justice. That's not how these situations have worked out. Let me go on to say that I do not condone rioting and destruction of property. I don't feel like that's the best way to have a conversation. The best way to do this is to not be silent. Don't mince your words. Don't hesitate to make somebody feel uncomfortable about treating you equally, like a person, like a human, like an American. It's not all white people. All of you that know me know that I'm married to a white woman. Okay? So it's not white people. And this is really not even just a white and black people thing. This is what, the media does try to make it that way. Society tries to make it like it's us against them. It's white people against black people. But listen, man, let me tell you guys what it really is. Let me tell you what fixes this. When you look at me for who I am instead of what the media has taught you that I am, that's what fixes this. When you treat me like you'd want to be treated, that's what fixes this. When you educate yourself about the different tactics and strategies that created this, that's what fixes this. When you decide to become an individual, when you break away from the matrix, when you break away from what the institution taught you, that's how we fix this. I don't have a script, but what I do have are emotions that have been pent up inside of me because I am trying to explain elementary scenarios and elementary concepts to people who would rather make them more complex than they are than to just understand this simple concept. All men and women were created equal. Not better, just equal. We should have equal access, equal rights. People should look at us equally when we're applying for a job or when we're just doing normal things like cooking out or walking in the park or fishing or sleeping in our homes or driving down the road or jogging through a neighborhood. The system has taught you to think about black people one way. What I'm asking you to do is take some time to educate yourself, because I can guarantee you with 100% certainty that the people that you see on the news that are vilified, by the way, are a very small percentage of the black people you see in everyday life. The black people you see in everyday life are smart, intelligent, peaceful, loving, kind. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're professionals. There are some that aren't professionals, and they are still those same kind, loving people that you see every day. All we're asking for people to do is this. You know when a police officer goes off the hinges, goes out into left field apparently, and says he does something that breaks the code. He goes outside of his training. He uses police brutality. He goes too far when trying to subdue a subject. And we say, that's just one cop. Not all of them are bad. Use that same logic when you see an African American. That's all I'm asking. This is Mac Fountain. I hope this helps somebody. Feel free to share this message. Friend me on Facebook. I'll be glad to engage with you in civil conversation. Anybody that knows me knows that I have a very open mind, and I am very open to hearing other opinions. I feel like that makes me better to a certain extent. I always have something to learn, and I feel like everybody has something to learn. You all have a great day. I'll try to do the same.